My name is Tim Mosicki. I'm the head athletic trainer at Loyola High School in Los Angeles, and this is my 35th year here as the head athletic trainer. Our current population is 1,300 all boys with about 900 athletes. Our primary job is to take care of them. Recently also our job has become more weather related. The CIF has come down with new guidelines that all schools have to follow as far as wet bulb testing, air quality, lightning. With the new guidelines from CIF, the wet bulb temperature that has to be done. There are handheld devices. The problem with those devices is you need to have someone go out a couple times a day, probably every 2 hours, and keep a recording of that. And then you have to then go and tell coaches, this is where we're at, this is where it's been moving up or down. You could get wrong calibration numbers and end up having to postpone practices or cancel practices just because the handhelds might not be as accurate. Periweather eliminates all that. It'll tell us whether we're in a yellow, an orange, or red, or a black zone, and the coaches will get a text saying that this is where you're at right now. You can only maybe practice this long, or we might have to shorten practices. We know that it's calibrated. We know that the numbers we're getting are accurate. The measurements are based on what is going on at Loyola High School at that time. It saves my staff and me time. It's a huge asset to my staff and myself, and to the administration, because they now know that, hey, we're within the right parameters and our kids are safe. A huge benefit to the Periweather app and the system is the air quality index. You can get air quality off a phone app. The problem with those apps are it's a 24-hour average. With Periweather, we are getting our air quality as what it is right now at that moment in time. When there's brush fires, given the size of Los Angeles and the CIF southern section, a school that's next to the hills could have a brush fire and their air quality could be horrible. And if the school is south of us and the wind's blowing southwest, we're not going to get affected by any smoke from that fire. The fact that I am now going to get a reading at that moment in time versus an average, and I'm getting a reading at our location versus the station 3-4 miles away, I can tell parents now that, hey, the air quality at Loyola is good, we're good to go. It's huge to have an air quality measurement on our campus now. In a high school setting, things happen. It's constant, one thing to the next. So, you don't want to be in that situation where someone went, oh shoot, we didn't measure that, or we skipped a reading, or we didn't record something. This is all done. I don't have to worry about it. And if anyone asks, we can provide them the documentation. Periweather has made my job, my assistant's jobs way easier. There's no guessing anymore. We know what our weather is for Loyola, and we can make decisions based on accurate readings. It's all calculated by the weather station. So coaches are notified immediately. Here's the app, here's what we're looking at. This is what we need to do.